good, my geek peeps? Gonna do that geek speak shit. If my computer would load, it is so slow today. Okay, I don't even know why I'm saying today, it's just slow in general. It's your boy Brian. What's good, DVS? Geek Speak Gaming is back. Let me just get my shit up and running. My monitoring system, aka my like 4-year-old, no, like 3-year-old laptop. Come on, you can do it. You and your chocolate milk, man. Ain't nothing wrong with no chocolate milk, though. I love me some chocolate milk. Alright. So. Geek Speak Gaming. We here. We live. I switched the positioning of the camera because I saw someone else playing and they had the camera down here. And I was like, holy shit. Nothing goes there. Why am I an idiot? I could have been on the screen the whole time. A. What's good, the little Jedi? But shout outs to my peoples over at the Geek Speak Last Week podcast. And Tone might pop through, might not pop through. He likes to surprise me. Oh, okay. That's why. Okay, I got you. And then shout outs to my boys over at the Hive Mind Productions. Hit me off with some amazing art, which you will see on the next two videos. Actually, on the last video and on this video. Well, not the last video, because that was the spider tofu. And since that was lighthearted, I just decided to leave mine up there. But, yeah, my boy G dropped some fire on me, and now I got D's up, and that will be the icon, the thumbnail for this video. I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope you feel better. And I'm really happy, and I appreciate their contribution to the channel. They bigging me up on the Facebook, throwing me out there, so maybe I'll get some more subs off of that. And on that note, real quick, if you are here for the first time, stick around. It's gonna get fun, unless you haven't played Spiderman already, because I'm about to spoil all kinds of shit in a minute. The name of the channel is Geek Speak Gaming, and today we are going heavily on the Geek Speak, and might be kind of light on the gaming, but we'll see how long I ramble for. But I have to talk about this game. I have to talk about this game after playing it. I got off after basically playing the game, and I basically had the weekend to think about the entire thing and where it could go and what. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We are here today to talk about Spider-Man 2, and as I said, Geek Speak Gaming. We're gonna go heavy on the Geek Speak, and we're gonna get to that in a minute. But first, I want to thank you, whoever you all are, for dropping on, because I feel like I might have some lurkers that pop in and out. So, and I want to thank you, obviously, Little Jedi, DVS, for being here today. I'm I do actually have some other stuff about the game to talk about real quick. But I want to real quick throw out some things that I'd like to see happen, because they said they're doing some more, free stuff and updates, probably some costumes and stuff like that. And what I'd really like to see is, okay, sorry. What I'd really like to see is the Spider-Man Spider Shadow symbiote suit in the game, and I'll show it again. But it was a story where it was basically like a what if story, where Peter had the symbiote and he kept it even after Reed Richards told him to get rid of it. And it took him over, and he went, I mean, for all intents and purposes, full Venom. And it was awesome. I'm trying to find a good shot, and I know I'm going to find the same shot I had last time. Just him on the freaking car with the fire. Well, there's one of him swinging, which is basically the symbiote suit, just the symbiote suit. But the mask does change, and like I said, he becomes a lot more violent. Gives himself like almost fangs. Yeah, there it is. There it is. I want that suit. So, anyway. Oh wait, yeah, I'm not playing yet, because I when I do that, then I get completely off track of what I'm trying to say, and then I end up rambling for like forever, and it's not the time. I know I just keep repeating myself at certain points, and I don't want to do that. So, as I said, heavy on the geek speed, low on the gaming at the moment. First thing I wanted to talk about, though, being that it is a game and it's gaming, the gaming award nominations were today, and Spider-Man actually racked up a couple of them. The first one was, and like a lot of us already knew this, was Best Performance, which was for Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker, because dude was just phenomenal in the game. He was just ridiculous. I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. Best Audio Design, fuck yeah. When I'm listening to this shit in these headphones, the way the way the sound just comes through in these headphones, and even when it's not in my headphones, when it's like on the surround sound, it just sounds so good. Like I still feel like, even when it's, like I said, when I got the sound pumped up on the surround sound really good, I can still hear all those sounds of the people talking and cars going and just the birds and I can hear it all, and it's amazing. Like when you're playing the game and you're swinging through the city and you're hearing it and it just whizzes by, and you can still, and it literally feels like it just, I can't even begin to explain that. If you haven't played the game with headphones on, the way it sounds is just when you're in those dark tunnels and everything, and shit is echoing, and you can hear water droplets, and it's ridiculous. And that's why when I said every time we did one of those, it was like a straight up horror game, Like the whole genre switched up for a second. Like, we need to scare the shit out of the player because we need you to understand how serious things are. And they really did. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself again. I'm not even talking about the game yet. Best narration, fuck yeah. Best direction, yeah, I'll give it to him for that. Because best action adventure. Now, see, I think it has actually a lock for those first ones. I'm not sure it's going to get best action adventure because Zelda's there. And I don't know if it's going to get Game of the Year because Zelda's there and Baldur's Gate is there and Alan Wake 2 is there. So I will concede that it won't. It might not win that, and if it doesn't, that's fine. As long as it got the nom for it, I'm good. But here's the thing: it's my Game of the Year. Like I'm not gonna play Alan Wake. That's just not my type of game. And I don't have a Switch to play Zelda on. But I don't think I will be playing anything else on the PlayStation that's going to top this. Now, here's the thing. When someone like me says that, again, I am not a hardcore gamer. I'm not out there playing every game and crushing it in 20 hours and shit like that, obviously. Because I've said, when I play this, I play at the speed I play because I'm streaming. I'm literally trying to get these streams in just for the fun of it. Just one, like I said, I'm here because I don't like to play by myself. I like having people watch me play. And I like having people to experience it with me. And as I'm always going to say, this gives me the illusion, and sometimes, like today, it's not an illusion that there are people here watching me. And going through these games, it's like, it's such a spectacle. So, see, I already lost track of where I was going to say. Where I was going. Anyway. Oh, Game of the Year. When I say Game of the Year, I don't think it would win. It would win Game of the Year. It would win Game of the Year for me because I'm not a hardcore gamer. I'm not out there killing the Elden Rings and throwing hundreds of hours into those and stuff like that. I can't play those. Like, I can't play any Souls-like games. Like this shit right here, and this is like, if I up the difficulty, is as close to Souls-like as I'm going to get. And here's the thing, it's fast-paced Souls-like, if anything, because now I have to dodge, and not only do I have to dodge and I have to parry in order to survive these fights. But it's obviously not a Souls-like. The only reason why I compared it anything like that to it is because of the scale of the recent boss battles in here. But again, we'll get to that in a minute. But I don't play all these games, and therefore I can't say this should definitely be Game of the Year over something like Baldur's Gate 3, because I don't play Baldur's Gate 3. Yes, exactly. But that's and I got spoiled. That's why I love doing this. And you know what? And you know what? And you know what, Little Jedi? Little Jedi? The thing is that Jacinda's mom used to do the same thing with me when I was playing the God of Wars. So when I was playing the God of Wars, I'm sorry, dude. It sucks. That sucks, man. When I was doing the God of Wars, she was sitting there watching me to the point that, like, by the time, like, God of War 2 came around, she was playing it as well. And she actually ended up getting further in that game than I did, because I, like, stopped playing because I was always, like, working and whatnot. And she ended up, like, telling me about shit that was happening in the game. Same like and same thing with Def Jam Fight for New York. When we was was it Vendetta was the first one, right? Yeah, Fight for New York was the same one. We was playing that, and I was playing that, and she got into it so hard that she started playing it, and then she would be calling me while I was playing, when I was at the pizza shop, talking about, yo, guess what happened? Yo, I just fought Redman and Method Man. Yeah, I was like, yo, I'm mad right now. But anyway, but yeah, that's my whole point. Is I like people being there to watch me play. Even Jacinda used to watch me play back in the day but you know, no more. Not anymore. Like, you know, I gotta watch them play, but they don't ever want to watch me play anything. Anyway, we're not getting into that. Not getting into that. But yeah, so that's why I'm here, and I'm a semi-casual gamer. Like I'll play, but I have to have like the motivation to keep it going, and sometimes that's hard to do with life going on. So streaming has been my way of doing that. So now that I can, now that I will, you know, actually sit down and actually play the games and whatnot, like I now have a slate. Like there's a bunch of games that I want to play, and I plan on putting them on the channel. I plan on it. Like this is why Guardians is next, and this is why I'm going older, because I'm not. It's not about how new a game is for me. It's whether I played it and whether I think I will enjoy it. I've had that game forever. I even started it, but it's like, again, the motivation wasn't there to, like, it wasn't that the story wasn't good. It's just like, I need that motivation to play. So I'm gonna do that next. I got, I know, DBS wants me to do Gotham Knights, and I'm thinking about it, but I've also heard so many bad things about it that it's like pushing it back. It's like pushing it down on the list. But to do some kind of Batman, I might, like, after I do Guardians, I might switch things up completely and do the Telltale Batman games, because I have both of those. And I have like the special edition where I can do it in black and white, and they call it like noir mode. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah. But you talking about the paper. Yeah, but he's in 12th grade. I mean, he's 12 years old. Anyway, but yeah, I want to get started on this then. So if you've been rocking with me since I started this series, basically since I started the channel, not even the first time, like the second time, the real time, the like this recent time, you know that I have just absolutely adored what Insomniac has done with Spider-Man. And I have said that I have a huge love for the character. And that has always extended beyond like the point that most people actually know me. Except for maybe Louis, because I think he's actually known me the longest. But I was still a Deadpool fan even then, but I was more of a Spidey fan because Deadpool didn't have his library of stuff yet. He hadn't even had his first miniseries yet. So ew, paper on math. Ew. That doesn't even sound right. That just sounds like an oxymoron. That just sounds redundant. Not redundant, just backwards. You don't write papers on math. Okay, anyway, you got me upset. I'm sorry, dude. You go. That sounds butters. But yeah, huge fan of Spider-Man. I mean, I don't own like copies of them, but I've read, and I actually did read like a lot of those classic runs. Like I read, and I didn't know what I was reading at the time because I was reading them like as they were coming out. But like you know, the first runs on Venom and everything like that, I was there for that shit. Like that, I had posters of McFarlane's covers for Amazing Spider-Man 300 and fucking, I had like the first like Venom cover, and I had his run on Spider-Man, you know, when he actually it was just Spider-Man, and I had his run with Craven, and I actually had a copy of, you know, Craven's Last Hunt that I got to read. I got to read so many of those like older books, and then like, hey babe, how are you? I love you. And then, you know, as I got older, I didn't get to collect nearly as much, but I had the first version. I had the first appearance of Carnage. And this was before I, you know, went to college, and all of that shit is gone now, unfortunately. But I had them, like, and then later on, you know, there were some really cool runs, and then they did some fucked up shit called the One More Day, and I like didn't read Spider-Man Forever because they broke up Mary Jane and Peter, and like they didn't just dissolve the marriage. Like if they had gotten like a divorce, it would have hurt, but I would have been like, that's fine, you know, it's writing, shit happens, they'll get back together. But they just basically made it so the shit never happened, and I was like, oh, that sucks. So I didn't read Spider-Man comics for a while, and then this dude named Dan Slott came along, and his stuff just completely revitalized it for me. They gave me a version of Spider-Man and Peter, more importantly, that I hadn't seen before, and that's one of the major parts about this game that I love. So getting back to this real quick, we got an experienced Peter that actually had the ability to use his intelligence and had some actual damn it, what's the word I'm looking for? Resources. He actually had resources. And seeing Peter work to the fullest as not only himself, but as Spider-Man, because he has some resources, was just the coolest thing in the world. And then Insomniac comes along with their game in 2018 after they got announced that they were going to do it, and I'm like, all right, you know, they're a good studio, you know, I'd like to see what they can do. And then I played the game and was blown away, and we all know where it went from there. And it's like the whole Dan Slott thing all over again, but different. Whereas I said Spectacular Spider-Man the cartoon was basically a mashup of everything. I do think so too. I think the Spectacular Spider-Man animated series was a mashup of like all the best aspects of Spider-Man media up till that point, because they used the stories of like the 70s, like those foundational stories of the 70s. Then they threw in some of the more popular stories from the 80s and 90s in there as well. And they made characters that people hadn't seen in like 15, 20 years relevant again. And they showed a version of New York City that reflected New York City for real. And it was absolutely refreshing. So that, and then Dan Slott's run on Spider-Man are like my favorite versions in like media had been up until that point. I love the movies, don't get me wrong. I love the Raimi movies. I absolutely love the other amazing movies, flaws and all. I understand they had, they're not perfect, but I loved Andrew Garfield. He is my favorite Spider-Man. I love Tom, but Andrew is my favorite Peter. And like, I played this game, and it was like, this time it was really like experiencing Spider-Man new for the first time, where Spectacular was a fresh coat of paint on old stories and updated, streamlined versions of more modern stories. This was a completely fresh take, and I loved the fact. Yes, I have. I actually really liked those. The second one, not as much, but it was still pretty good. The first one definitely was better than this. Like, I think story wise and gameplay wise, but the way they reimagined the world, and this is where I always will make the comparison to the Arkham games. They both did this brilliantly. They both reimagined a world that has existed at this point for upwards of 70 years, 80 years in the case of Batman. But, and to put this completely fresh coat of paint on it, to bring characters in an organic way, where they didn't have to, like, they did it in one of the most animated series, the most recent animated series, but then they also did and I'm going to talk about this later too. They brought like all of the Spider Peoples in one show, and I was like, no, you can't do that. You can't. Like, it's cool, but if you're setting it up with a Peter that has literally only been Spider-Man for like a year and a half, not even. Like, by the end of his first year, there can't be Peter, Miles, and Gwen, a symbiote, and all. Nah, like, there's too much already. It's too much. You're doing too much. That they did this organically, where Spider-Man has already been around for 8 years, doing his thing, had a pretty storied career, has fought most of his rogues at least twice at this point of the first game, and stuff kicks off. And I'm not gonna go over the events of the game. You guys were there, and if you haven't, you can go back and watch. Those were fun times as well. But for them to do that, and then again sneak Miles in, then give Miles his own game that's a proper origin story for a Spider-Man, which they said they weren't doing a Spider-Man origin, they just meant Peter. And then the second game comes along. And we have an experienced Spider-Man. We have a Spider-Man who is still getting his legs under him, but is definitely more on his game than he was at the start of his own first solo adventure. Working together as partners, which you don't get to see very often, not even in the comics. Like, they do it sometimes, but it's like it only happens in like one of each other's books. Like, this is one of the reasons why, like, if I ever wrote for Marvel, I'd want to be like, yo, can I write a book that's just like Spider team-ups? Y'all got all these Spider people and whatnot. Like, I want team-ups between these people, and I want to tell these stories. They share a bond. I want to share the story between them on adventures. That was something I've always wanted to see, and I was like, I'd write that. I really would. Easily. Just give me the backstory on everybody, on where they are at the moment in the universe, and I'll take it from there. And I will take it from there. My brain works like that. But anyway, so they wove all of this together, and we get Spider-Man 2. They're working together. Everybody's good. And we start the freaking game with the Sandman literally taking over the fucking city. Just wiping shit out, covering everything in dust, leaving the tip of Manhattan in an actual beach when everything is over. And so you want to talk about escalating opening set pieces. We went from the Kingpin fight to the Rhino fight to this. And each one of, and someone pointed this out, and I can't remember who. And but when, as soon as they said it, I was like, they said, it's actually brilliant. They said Peter's game starts with a rock song. Miles' game starts with a hip hop song. And more importantly, when he gets his suit, he gets that, a song. And this game opens with a song that's basically a combination of both. Which, thank goodness, no copyright strike for that song, because, I was not about to not play that song. Swing is a bomb song. So as soon as I heard that shit in the trailer, I was like, ooh. And then to find out it was written specifically for the game, I was like, okay, yeah, that game is ridiculous. Okay, that song is ridiculous. So the fact that that was actually how that started, I was lit after that point. Like, I was like, let's go. And y'all was there. Y'all saw me. So that's how the game starts. And that right there starts off one of your side missions. And before you even get into the game, you're really still doing your friendly neighborhood stuff, cleaning up and everything else. The game set the tone of the rest of the game immediately. Because the whole Sandman thing from the start sounded sus. And they explained it to you throughout you picking up the crystals, obviously. And then you get to the end and you get and you find out it's because the hunters were freaking tracking him, chasing him. They had his daughter, they drugged him, and like it's like, and from that point on, the way things escalate, it seemed crazy, but it kind of made absolute sense with the way Kraven's urgency to get shit done, to die, was prompted and pushed by his impending death. He needed to do this while he was still in peak condition. Any bit of him slipping due to whatever medical issue that he had, whatever this mysterious disease was, any of it, if it had started to mess with his performance, he probably would have killed himself first. So he had to do it while he still had it in him. And that's what was prompting the urgency, and that's what was prompting the fucking absolute chaos. Now, obviously I'm talking about story first. They did such a good job in the first movie. Oh my gosh, in the first game, laying the seeds for the second game, and in Miles. Y'all remember what I said about sound? I hear a helicopter. I just heard a helicopter, just chilling. As soon as the music died, all I heard was a helicopter. Anyway, and we're on the title screen, on the menu screen. So, they did such a good job laying the seeds for this story and everything that was going to come, that nothing in this story to me felt forced. Everything felt like it played out exactly the way it should have. All the surprises that they gave me, I was not ready for. I just watched, well, I didn't just watch, but earlier today I listened to, I should say, an interview with Brian Intihar, the creative director of the game. And they got to ask him all the questions and all the spoilery stuff. So when he was talking about certain things, I was just like, oh, okay. Like he was saying that, like, as long as he gets to make these Spider-Man these games, I gotta stop saying movies, these Spider-Man games, he's going to have those quiet moments that some people just don't like. Like, he's serious. He was like those quiet moments, like when, like early in the game when I'm riding a bike with Harry, when you're riding a bike with Harry, or when you do certain missions like the finding the grandpa mission, or the Howard mission. Rest in peace, Howard. Like, those moments are just as important as those big bombastic action moments in the game. And I completely feel that. Like, that's what he said, and I feel that. Like, they didn't do as good a job in the first game, but Miles' game really stepped it up and really, like, set the tone for what the friendly neighborhood aspect of Spider-Man should be moving forward. And in this game, it blew me away because there were side missions where I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then, and it was, again, there wasn't a lot going on. I'm not talking about like the Cletus Cassidy stuff with the flame and all of that. Nah, fuck that. I'm talking about like Henry. Like, that got me. Like, because I literally spoke to Jay the other day, like a couple of days before I finished, before I did that mission. Maybe. We'll see. He said, I was talking to Jay, that's my kid, and I'll be referring to them as all kinds of shit, but Jay, Cinda, JJ. But I was talking to JJC, and then I was talking about like some of the missions, and they were like, yeah, I heard about Howard and the pigeons. I was like, yeah, the first time you have to deal with Howard, I'm like, why am I chasing these damn pigeons? But then, like, excuse me, Henry, I called him Henry. You deal with Howard, I'm like, yeah, you're dealing with them damn pigeons. And the second time you're dealing with Howard, it leads to something else, but, you know, pigeons are all, again, involved. But it's cool, and that's in Miles' game. So when I saw Howard again, I was like, oh, yay, this is cool. Yo, as soon as I sat down on the edge of the bank and he started talking to me, I was like, this isn't gonna end well. And I was like, yo, the writing is on the wall and they're still gonna get me. And I held out, but I feel like I'm about to cry now. I held out, but that was like one of those, this could have been a completely throwaway thing. They did not have to include that in the game at all, but it was payoff to the two freaking games before it, that it was just like, oh man, like you felt that. Like, I felt that. Like, yo, I felt that. And then there was like the old lady, the blind lady with that, you know, was allergic to pets. And he was talking about that mission, and he was like, that was just like a throwaway mission. Like, literally, that was one of those ones where we were literally like, okay, come up with whatever you can come up with, and we'll see we'll see if we can implement it. And like if it's good enough, like, you know, he's like, that was just an Insomniac moment. People just went to work and they just came up with this scenario, and we were like, yeah, that'll work. That'll work. And like, when I did that mission, like, it was so cute. I was like, yeah, this is like, I want to see them in Spider-Man 3. Like, that's how, like, me seeing Teo, and like the fact that Teo has blown up to the point where him and Spider-Man are like he got a Spider-Man mascot, like, and I mean his Spider-Man cat got a mascot, like, and he out in the park. He not even in his store. He got other people running his store. Like, see, like, these people, like, that's like for real. That's like for real. Like, Tails, like that whole shit got me. Like, I was like, yo, this is like these little stories, you know, the dudes with the fireworks, and like all the Brooklyn Visions ones, like the one with the boyfriend. Like, yo, like, these missions were so much fun. Like, I was like, every time I pick one up, I'm like, what am I about to be doing? And I was like, oh wow, like the freaking the music museum one, that was fantastic. That was great. Like, I loved these missions. And like, and that's like all side missions. So then you get to, like, speaking of side missions, the Mysteriums. That was very cool. Basically little combat arenas for me to mess around in, and, you know, it gets to tell another part of a story. And then I get to the end, and, you know, Mysterio is still good, and like, it was so well done. The themes throughout, like the redemption theme of the villains, and I feel like that was purposely put in there, excuse me, to balance the fact that Kraven comes in and slaughters half of them. Because Kraven came in, and here's the thing, they were only unsubtle about some of them. They basically said people haven't seen Rhino in a while. Then you see Vulture's wings, and then you realize the Vulture's wings are basically the same as the Talon wings that you like, and then they basically got the audio tapes of him talking about killing Shocker. You see him kill Scorpion, like, and whatnot. Now, the trophy room is, and I'm gonna put and I'm gonna try and put a link to the IGN video that I found about it. The trophy room was basically an unused room, but it looked dope, and it basically had Rhino's head in the center with Vulture's head, Scorpion's head, and Shocker's head around him, and like around Rhino's head, and then there was a throne, and I was like, yo, why did they not put that in the game? Because that would have been dope. Had that shit on the wall in the arena where you had to fight Lee, and he was there. They should have just put that's what they should have put, that right there. And you don't see it because you're fighting, but you know how motherfuckers do in photo mode. They'd be like, oh, every time I get to a new place, photo mode, I'm gonna go around the whole area in photo mode and see what I got. Oh, look what's on the wall. Like that, they should have left that in there. They should have. But anyway, yeah, the redemption theme, I really feel, was put in there. And they did mention it, but I don't remember if they said it was put in there to balance the fact that he was, I think they did say that actually, but yeah, that he was in there because Kraven literally comes in there, and then they asked why did they kill off so many villains, and it was and they were like, well, it's basically, we had to show how big a threat Kraven is. Whereas like Spider-Man puts these dudes away, yeah, he beats them and he puts them away. This dude just came in and he just slaughters them like they're nothing, because he's not trying to have a fight and then he didn't break them out to put them back. So nah, he really didn't. He didn't. He killed half of the Sinister Six that they have showed in this universe. Spider-Man has as big of a rogue gallery as Batman, just about. There are a lot of characters. We still haven't, I mean, we know the Green Goblin's coming, but they could do it like the 90s animated series and have a Hobgoblin before the Green Goblin. And I am going to get into that in a minute, in a little bit. But yeah, so that redemption theme was strong throughout. I liked it. I liked that it actually paid off, and that they didn't try and renege on any of them halfway through, or try to pull the gotcha on any of them. Like, oh, you thought he was good. You thought he was going to be good, but nah, he's still just a villain. Like, nah, like anybody that they said that they were redeeming, they redeemed. And I really enjoyed that, especially obviously with Martin Lee and Miles thing. Like, I loved that scene where he literally said, he's like, I can't forgive you. That's not in me. But I can't carry around this hate for you. And like, I know that's hard for some to understand. It's like, if you're not going to forgive them, then it's like, no, it's two different things. It's like, I will never forgive what you've done, but I'm not going to sit there in that moment for the rest of my life. I'm going to move on, and if that means that I have to work with you in order to save one of my best friends, my big brother, in arms, then I'm going to do that. And I hope that you truly are a changed man, and if you need anything, I will be there. Because that's basically what he's putting out there with him when he says, I'm going to, when Martin Lee says, I'm going to do things your way, he basically, I'm going to turn myself in and finish doing my time or whatever and do things your way. So it may end up being a hero. Who knows? So then there was the Tombstone thing. Like, it was really well done. Black Cat, never redeemed, but you know, she's always kind of ambiguous. She's always hero, villain, hero, anti-hero. So she's gonna stay who she was, and I love that her interactions were with Miles, and in the end, she tells Peter that he's a good one. So I really liked where they left all the characters. I mean, first of all, the characters and all the performances, not just Yuri Lowenthal's, but obviously Yuri Lowenthal because of him having to do the suit, and the influence, and like he was pulling that off. Like, there was points where I was like, damn, man, Peter, why you really, like, he saved your life with that shit, and you gonna turn on him like that? Like, really? Like, oh, damn, that's dirty. Like, it was really, all the performances were really well done, but Yuri definitely was just ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. Najee Jeter as Miles was just fantastic. I know a lot of people love Shameik Moore's Miles in the Spider-Verse movies, and I do too. I really do. But for me, Najee Jeter's Miles wins it out. I love this kid, and I'm old enough to call him a kid. I love this dude playing him. He's so well done. He's so well done. He's just so good at it. Like, and his enthusiasm for the game. So is, I mean, Yuri's is ridiculous too, but. And, you know, Naji is the face as well. He's not just the voice. He is the face. And when you look at him, like, outside of it, obviously he doesn't look like it. He's got facial hair and stuff now. But Naji is Miles. And he really fits this character really well. And I look forward to him playing the character moving forward for however many projects they have him in. I look forward to all of these characters. Laura Bailey as MJ, fantastic. The MJ missions in this game were actually fucking fun. Like, I mean fun. Like, not even trying to like gaslight or anything, like fun. I had fun with her. She's bad at, yo, that's sim carrying training. I mean, it's sim carrying training, and you know she got it directly from fucking like a Silver Sable too. So it's people are like, yo, she shouldn't be able to. Yo, she spent months over there with Silver Sable. She fuck all y'all up right now. She will fuck all of y'all up right now. No cap. No cap. She will fuck all y'all up. Is it? And then her little upgraded gun. Yo, let that shit let me find out in the next game. She got that shit like official, and that shit switches from. She's gonna have her shit hooked up. It's gonna have like electric webbing, fucking sonic blast on it, regular webbing, and just, yo, fuck, man, listen. And straight up tasing people, man, listen. The MJ missions was no joke. They was fun. I had a blast playing them. So like my cousin had a blast watching like me doing them, like on especially the ones outside the house. Those were dope. And then like the villains. Slight tangent. And see, this is, oh, my shit is charging still. Oh, I should have left it. See, and this is why I said it might be light on the gaming, if at all. I'm ranting, but I'm not ranting. Kraven. I loved Kraven in this game. From the moment I saw him in the gameplay reveal, which is, you know, the reveal of him in the game for the first time. Oh, I'm sure he's gonna say something like that. But from the moment I saw him in that, I was like, yo, that's how you do Kraven. That dude was imposing as the fact that he just cracked dude's neck with one hand like that after holding him up in the air, and just and then the music. John Paisano again knocked it out of the park. Again tangent. John Paisano knocked it out of the park with the music. Oh my gosh, that theme, every time that shit sounded like the fucking Lord of the Rings orc theme. And it gave me chills because I was like, yo, this dude on the hunt for real. Like, every time he's just them horns. And I was like, that shit's dope. That, like, oh. And the fact that that's literally, like, his signature. Like, every time he came on screen, that played either when it came on or when he left. Like, or when the screen was about to, or he was about to leave that screen. And ooh, he was, yeah, that, and the backstory that they gave him with him like basically dying and wanting to find someone worthy of his death, like that's what he was looking for. And the last hunt, and I was like, yo, they threw their own twist on Kraven's last hunt. Like, yeah, the lizard's gonna be the one to kill me. The lizard's gonna be the one. Nah, dead this lizard. I want the spider. I want the spider. He is, and I just, they killed it with that. And this is why I said tangent. Right after that came out, not even a week after that came out, we got the trailer for this trash ass movie that's coming. I actually had, I don't know why. I don't know why I had hopes for this movie after Morbius. I don't know why. And I hadn't seen Morbius at that point yet either. I don't know why I had hope for this movie. Maybe it's because it was Aaron Taylor Johnson and I like him. And I was literally like, nah, he might, yeah, he could pull this off. Yeah, nah, right, yeah. And then I saw how how buff he got. I was like, oh yeah, no, yeah. There was literally one scene in the movie and then the poster. And then everything else was trash. I'm so glad that they did him right in this game. I'm just ridiculous. Yeah, that too. That was a good one too. The Prowler theme, yeah. Yeah. So Lizard. Shit was like a mini T-Rex. All right, so this is one of those situations where they did not have a lot of time to build a character, and they still did the character amazingly. Just like I shouldn't say did it amazingly. They did him justice, and they gave us just enough. And this is where the Insomniac storytelling again is off the charts, because they give you the information, like when they drip feed you the information, it's not like one of those ones where you got to find it throughout the entire game to get the entire story. Oh yeah, we're getting some of that with Kraven, but we can get what we need from like doing the first base, and then we can get the rest from the game dialogue that we actually get. Obviously, the more stuff that we do, you know, the more information about Kraven we get, and that's cool. But again, it's still not drip fed to us to the point where you gotta find it. It's like, no, these are activities that you should do, and then they're right there once you're done. As opposed to some games where it's like you're going through the game and, oh, look, there's a piece of this document here. Oh, look, there's a piece of this document there on the other side of the fucking mansion. Oh, there's a piece of this document here before you find it. And I'm like, yo, none of that, nah, I can't do that. I can't do audio logs. I can't do like 90 audio logs just to find out the story of one passenger on one ship, or whatever. Like, no, I can't. So the fact that, like, when you go in to a room, everything is there. If you miss it, it's on you. But it's all pretty much right there. Like, oh, there's a tape player here. There's a map on the wall. There's a thing for you to look at on the computer, and you get the information that you need. And I'm like, okay, cool. So the fact that we got what we needed about Kurt Connors basically by going through his lab, hearing the audio tapes, and knowing his past, it's like knowing, you know, his past exploits as the Lizard, not like fully, but knowing that he had already had them. It was very cool, and yet disturbing when you're fighting him, because I can't lie, that was like the first big boss battle, and I felt kind of bad during that boss battle when Pete started, because of the suit, when Pete started talking shit to him about no wonder why your family left you and all this other. I was like, bro, this isn't his fault. He didn't want to become the lizard. He did not want this at all. And he especially didn't want to, like, completely lose his humanity like that. Because we got to see him very briefly as the normal lizard, which, yeah, he still looked kind of the same. He still actually had spikes on his back. But nope. He's I did not know that. He's in his coat before he starts growing for the like growing oversized for the first time. And he says, what is happening to me? What did they do to me? Because that's not his normal serum. And either it's not his normal serum, or they gave him too much of it. And what happened to him was like based on another of the Dan Slott stories that I was talking about, was called Shed, where the lizard kind of like shed his humanity and went like full lizard. And that's exactly what he did in the game. So, and Yuri Watanabe and all of that's like, and him and her as Wraith, that's all part of his run too. Good times. So again, and that's something else from the story. That the whole flame leading into it being Cletus Cassidy, bro, and me having to fight her as like pretty much my first boss battle, was pretty cool. But that was like, I kind of saw it coming. I literally called it like not in that reveal. I think it was the next time, but I felt it. But that whole thing ended with with Yuri. I feel like that's gonna be the DLC. I think they're gonna wrap up the symbiote stuff with this game. If they're gonna let Harry be like anti-Venom or Venom or something after that, I feel like it's gonna be in the DLC. I think the DLC might be multi-part again. I think it will have to do with all three Spider-Men. All three Spider-Men. It will have to do with both Spider-Men and Harry as Venom or anti-Venom or something. Like, if he's anti-Venom, he's going to be the monstrous version of anti-Venom that Eddie Brock was when he first became it. I think that's going to be the DLC. I think it's going to be multi-part. And I think you're going to play as Miles and Peter in the first part, and then you're going to play as Venom or whatever. Nah, bro. I'm thinking that's DLC. Like I said, that's what I'm thinking. That's DLC. I'm thinking that they're gonna do that. They're gonna wrap up all the symbiote stuff with this game. They're gonna do it as a DLC, and That's what I'm saying. I think they're gonna have him in as DLC. The next game is gonna be way too complicated to throw Carnage in there too. Um, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This game, the story was obviously fantastic. All the characters were well, just well written, well done. I feel like there were times that I felt like Miles was getting the shaft, but I think that was sort of like intentional. So you feel it like he does. Like he wasn't getting to play, you weren't getting to play as him as nearly as much, which is one of the reasons why whenever I got the chance, I definitely played as him. Which is why I didn't do any of the friendly neighborhood missions as Peter really. But overall, I felt like the story in the game was balanced. The gameplay was fantastic. The web wings, people can kiss it. I don't care if they don't like it. They don't like to use them. Don't use them. You can take forever getting across the city if you want. I have fun using them damn things. Using the wind tunnels. Half the time I don't even use the wind tunnels because I'm so high up. I just fly across the fucking city from going up high. I like doing that. But using the wind tunnels is fun. Doing the loop-de-loops is fun. The slingshot is fun. The web lines is fun. I didn't need to use my cornering a little bit more. A lot more. Combat is ridiculous. I just changed my ship back to the arms because I haven't used them in so long. But it's like now I kind of want to change back to the symbiote again. Miles' powers are dope. I kind of don't want to go back to any of his old shit because everything that I have there, I have a version of. I just have it. I have something else. I have something else that I can use instead. Yeah, I think that's the only problem with the game. I shouldn't say with the game, with the combat is like once you get the new moves, the old moves just are like kind of useless. And I don't even want to say useless, especially with Peter and the arms because that's viable. Like you can literally have I have the arms and then the symbiote because I have the symbiote for the spin up shit because that's dope. But with Miles, it's like you can switch it and have both, but like the other moves aren't as cool. They're just not. So unless they give those upgrades in the third game, they're just not. It's just not going to be useful. You may just be evolved by then. I think the length was perfect. Yeah, I really don't. Yeah, no, it's time to go into predictions. Yeah, I really don't think there's anything else to say. I really enjoyed the game. Yeah, there is. This is the first game, literally, that I have ever wanted to play, that I've like played through, and like I know I have a little bit more stuff to do, but this is the first game that I've ever played and like wanted to immediately go back and play right through again. Which is why I'm mad we don't have the New Game Plus ready, because I would be playing that shit right now. Right now. Yes, I would still be doing Guardians of the Galaxy, which is what I will be doing. Not next stream. Next stream, I will be finishing up the shit that I have here. But I will be going back and forth between Guardians of the Galaxy and New Game Plus as soon as that drops. I will be playing that, and y'all are gonna see. Y'all are gonna see, that would be dope. Y'all are gonna see the thumbnails for that coming up because G's is already on the last the last game stream, basically the last story stream, and D's is gonna be up. For this one. Yeah, predictions. So yeah, like I said, I feel like Carnage is going to be DLC. 2 parts, maybe 3. They did 3 last time. And I feel like it's going to have to do with Carnage, Yuri, and Miles is going to get involved in it this time. And like I said, Harry's either going to come back as Venom or Anti-Venom or whatever. That's my prediction for that. And however that shakes out kind of determines what goes on in the 3rd game for me. Well, in general. The 3rd game, the Goblin is coming. And I feel like they've been very, like everyone was talking about at the beginning before this game came out, that the game length was going to be too short. I feel like if they were going to make a longer game, this 3rd game should be the longer one. Not by anything ridiculous. I don't think it needs to be a 40-hour game now. But I feel like 30 hours straight story would benefit it, because then they could do a lot more. And here's why I say that. There are a lot of different ways this can go. Being the Spidey fan that I am and seeing where they've pulled their stuff from so far, they can simply just go the expected route of Norman and Otto team up and go after Peter, and by extension Miles. And no, and not even by extension Miles, because Norman probably blames both of them. So the simple answer is, the simple story is they team up, go after the Spider-Man. And some people are saying they get the Sinister Six back together, and obviously not the same Sinister Six, because most of them are dead. And I'm like, well, if you do, then you're going to have to bring in a whole bunch of new people, because I don't want to see them go after Mysterio. I don't want to see them after Sandman or Tombstone or anybody like that, because they're redeemed characters. I want them to stay redeemed. Don't renege on that. If anything, you can do Electro, because we didn't see him. Oh, yes, we did. We saw his vest. Never mind. Electro dead too. So you have to do a whole new Sinister Six. But that's why I don't think they would go that route. I think what would end up happening is Otto would help Norman by helping Norman create some new tech. And this is with the stuff that I was talking about before. So he got his little private army of dudes on gliders out there patrolling the city trying to stop Spider-Man. Masquerading as some Merc Force. See, this is where my brain goes. What if he hires a certain Jason McIndale? Or better yet, wait, which one is, what's the other one's name? What's the other one's name? That's a Roderick Kingsley. Yeah. We're gonna go comics app. We're gonna go comics. He hires Roderick Kingsley, and we do the shell game. He hires Roderick Kingsley. Roderick Kingsley takes some of his gear, creates the Hobgoblin. Maybe. But Roderick Kingsley Kingsley takes the tech that they create, creates the Hobgoblin persona, takes this crew of mercenaries and who are like former Sable people that got, you know, arrested or whatever, that, you know, were going crappy in the first game, and creates his little goblin army, and they're out there messing things up. We got to stop the Hobgoblin. Meanwhile, Otto betrays Norman because he don't like him, and what's his name uses the G serum on himself and becomes the Green Goblin. Goes nuts, kills Kingsley, or thinks he kills Kingsley, because Kingsley likes to masquerade as other people. So what he would do is he would train he would get his like best trained soldier to masquerade as him as the Hobgoblin, and then that dude would get killed. Kingsley would get away. Hobgoblin would technically get away. Green Goblin is out there being nuts now, takes control of the freaking Goblin army, and they go full force on Spider-Man until fucking Otto shows up, and Otto helps Peter and Miles because he don't like Norman, and then after that he has to battle Peter. Miles finishes the fight with Norman. That's the simple version. Then people start throwing in other shit like Superior Spider-Man and shit, and I'm like, it can be done, but that's what would make the story be stupid long. And personally, as cool as it would be, I don't want all of that in there because of the simple fact that it would just take forever. And here's the thing. When they didn't give us the black suit as a suit in the Spider-Man in the first game, a lot of people were pissed off. But the reason they didn't do that was obvious at the end of the game, once you watched it to the end credits, because they were going to do the black suit. If they had any intention of doing Superior Spider-Man in this story, I don't think they would have given us the suit as a suit. Because they're not going to just do their version of the Superior. I don't think they really would. I just don't. And it's overcomplicated and it's unnecessary. There's already enough things going around. I didn't even get to mention the fact that I think that there's going to be another spin-off game. I think there's going to be another Miles Morales game before Spider-Man 3. I think that Miles Morales game is literally just going to be called, where it was called Spider-Man Miles Morales, is going to just be called Miles Morales Spider-Man. And I think it's going to have him being Spider-Man for New York City's only Spider-Man for a while, before we get to Spider-Man 3, where Peter has to come out of his little semi-retirement. I also think Silk is going to be in that second game. I don't know how she's going to get bit. I don't think she has the powers already. I think if anything, maybe she gets a job at Oscorp or something. Or maybe her dad works at Oscorp and he's visiting her. Who knows? But I think she's gonna get bit, and because her and Miles actually get pretty close, because they're gonna be like basically siblings, because Albert and Rio are getting pretty close, and she actually confides in him what's going on, and then he does basically the same thing that Peter did, basically showing her like, oh well, I'm Spider-Man. And I think that's what's going to be. I don't know who the villain would be for that, but I think that's who the story. I think that's what's going to be like the story. There's going to be another spin-off in between everything else. I think Insomniac likes having the DLC and then the spin-off game. I think they like having those in order to flesh out the story, characters, and situations as much as they can. Because look what they were able to do with the DLC. The DLC basically gave us Carnage. It gave us Wraith, and then it gave us Carnage. And then the Miles Morales basically gave us Miles, a fully formed Miles, by the by the beginning of this game. So I think that those are pretty much my predictions. We're not going to see Superior Spider-Man. Though if they wanted to go that route, you would put that in early in the game. Like he tried to get his revenge on Peter himself, and it doesn't work. Or you have it happen. You have it happen in the middle of the game. So what you have is things start to go crazy. You have your little goblin arc, your little goblin army thing, whatever. Peter hasn't come out of retirement yet. I also think there should be like a time skip too, like a full year and a half time skip. But yeah. Anyway, Peter's still in retirement until Otto attacks. Otto comes after him, and in doing so, Peter comes out of retirement, and they fight, and Peter stays out of retirement for a little while, and then so you get like the first half of the game being able to play as like the first part of the game is just Miles, and then stuff happens, and then Peter comes out, and then now you have Miles and Peter, so you're doing things as both Miles and Peter, and then the stuff happens that turns it to Superior, where because of his degenerative disease, whatever, he finds a way using of course the same technology that Peter helped him build for his arms, and Peter uses for his own arms. They end up switching bodies, and Peter's stuck in Octavius's body, and of course it's set up so that Octavius is going back to prison, and then he's not dying, he's just doesn't want to be stuck in that body. So then Peter, so he's in Peter's body, Peter's in his, but of course Peter's able to impress upon him, what he's learned and everything he's been through, which has Otto have somewhat of a change of heart, even though he was planning on just going against Norman anyway. But now he knows he has to stop Osborn. So obviously he becomes the superior Spider-Man, and he's out there doing the Spider-Man thing in his own way. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think this is the other reason why I don't think they'll do it. People are going to start noticing the change in him and realize it's not him, and we've already done that before, where it's not him, but we've gotten the whole game in this game where people were like, oh god, Peter's not Peter, he's just not himself. And like, I feel like even if it's body switching and it's an actual new personality in the body, it's too close and too soon to what we just went through. So that's one of the reasons. But anyway, for the sake of argument that they do Superior, then they'd start noticing that, He's very different, and he starts becoming a little bit more closed off as he trying to get together his own. Um, well, he's trying to get Miles and Silk together and everything as his own army to fight against the oncoming Spider Army. I mean the Goblin Army and blah blah blah. And then they go at it, and he realizes that despite everything that he's done that's been good, he's not good enough as Spider-Man because he still has this grudge against Norman, and that's somewhat clouding what he needs to do. And he decides that he's going to switch back, and he switches back, and Peter's back, and yeah, we get Norman versus Peter and all that other goodness and stuff. So yeah, but those are just some thoughts of where it could go. I do like the idea of the Hobgoblin and everything. I mean, that's one thing. I think I feel like if we're gonna do anything like that, the Spider-Verse stuff will be a side mission, and that'll be actually a dope side mission. You have villains from other universes coming through, and as a Spider-Verse side mission, you have to go round them up and stuff like that. Like Miguel or maybe even Miles from that universe shows up, or Gwen, because everybody wants to see Gwen. What if Gwen shows up with Hobie, and they're like, hey, we need you to do us a job, and they give you a bracelet, and then yeah, and it culminates with you getting to go back to the hub for a little bit, and for a cut scene, and then that's it. But doing so allows you to fight like 3 different villains in like actual like full-on boss battles and whatnot. So, and it would be cool because then you obviously you would get different interpretations of the villain. So we could have a whole new Vulture boss battle, or we could have a whole new Electro boss fight because we're fighting different versions of them and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot that can be done. I think the Cindy Moon aspect, the Silk thing, can really work well. Unfortunately, the one thing I have not said yet, I feel like all of this is if they give her powers, I feel like it's going to be leading up to Peter fully retiring because he loses his powers, fully retiring just in general because he's going to be a father, or him dying. Which I don't really want to see him die. I don't want to see him fully retired either, but I'd rather see him fully retired because he's going to be a father, and he knows that the city's got 2 spider people able to, take his place, and that would be very cool. I really don't want to see him die, but I feel like that's where we're heading, with him being like getting to the point of him. Oh, I'm definitely down for that. I'm definitely. Oh, you changed your name again? Or is that someone new? I definitely think the kids are going to have spider powers. One of the things that I'm hoping for is, if that's why I was actually saying I hope there's a time skip, is if there is a time skip, I hope Mary Jane has had a kid. I love the worlds where Peter is a dad. That was so adorable in Into the Spider-Verse. So, I mean, across the Spider-Verse. So yeah, that was something that once I was originally saying that, you know, like if he dies, you know, we find out after the fact that Lil May, because of course she's gonna be named May, Mayday, Lil May is gonna be spider powered. So yeah, but I'm not here doing a review of this game. I just needed to get all this shit about the game out. I needed to talk about having so much fun playing the game, the way the story impacted me, the way it flowed, the way nothing felt forced, nothing felt like a chore to do, none of the collectibles. The only thing that I don't like in this game is a me issue, and it's because I have to get better, and that's those drone things. There's a part of me that wants to just skip them all, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna try and get a couple of them in. I'm not doing all of them. I am gonna skip some of them. I'm gonna be completely upfront about that right now. Because those things are not easy. They are a pain in the ass. But here's the thing. They're cool. They're fun, but they're fun, they're cool. They're a little bit of a pain in the ass having to do so many of them. I wish there was only like 3 or 4. But they are a cool little side mission or activity to do. And I love the fact that you can just see them floating around the buildings. I love the AR aspect of it, where you can see everything. I really do think that on a gameplay aspect, they upped their game, and it definitely wasn't what a lot of people were saying. Yeah, they're basically web wing challenges. That is what they are. It to me basically just wasn't more of the same. It wasn't. I didn't feel Miles was more of the same. I had so much fun playing this game. Look, I've been here talking for an hour and a half, just talking. I guess I'm not getting a game in, because I am going to end up going to bed. But I have had so much fun with this game. It's just got me so... Ooh, that's a good one. I'm gonna try that. Like, the game just was everything that I wanted about Spider-Man, amped up, and done in a way that was so entertaining. Like, even when I lost those challenges, when I lost that challenge the first time, like when I kept losing, it was like I should just go back to what I was doing. I was like, no, I have to beat this. No, I have to beat this. No, I actually had to beat it at that time. But like, I kind of want to, like, they're a pain, but I want to go back and do one just to say I beat them. But the game overall was such a good Spider-Man narrative for both characters that this really has become my favorite versions of the characters. I except for one, and the one that's currently going on right now, I have all the comic books involved with this story. I don't have the art of books, but I might be getting those now, because these games were so good. They were like, it was playing us. It really was just playing a cinematic experience. And I understand that's what like a really good AAA first person, AAA one player adventure game, action adventure game should be. Like God of War, Uncharted. But to get that in a Spider-Man game now, and I say it like that because of the way it looks, it's just so satisfying. It's so satisfying. Batman has had good games. Not as many as Spider-Man, actually, but he's had, like his last run of games have been ridiculous. Starting all the way from the Batman Begins game, and then the Arkham games on top of that. But Spider-Man, the Spider-Man games just, again, the fact that you have so much of the story involving both Peter and Miles's side to things is what makes these games so good and so enthralling, and the story so personal to you when you play it, because you're invested in these characters. You're not just invested in the superhero fantasy. You're invested in the human fantasy. Well, not human fantasy. The human aspect of the superhero fantasy. You are invested in these characters' lives. You care about them. They make you. The writing makes you care about them. It's not just the peril that they're in. It's the fallout from the things that they have to deal with behind the mask. And as the saying goes, when Spider-Man wins, Peter and Miles lose. And we see that so much in this game from the beginning. Peter loses his freaking job right off the bat. The game starts and my man loses his job. In the first game, he lost his fucking apartment. And that's why at the end, when he's like, I need to step back, you understand. Like, he's like, he's got stuff to do. I have to rebuild this company. I have to keep the mortgage. I have to keep my girl. We're moving in together. Like, exactly why he needs to be Peter. And at that point, Miles is at that point where I can be Spider-Man. I understand that I get the balance now. I know who I am all around. I know who I am as Miles, and I know who I am as Peter. As Spider-Man, and I can do this. Exactly. And he's probably going to go to ESU, exactly where Peter went. So, and I think that's where Genki's going. And I think that's where Haley's going. So I wouldn't be surprised if in the next Miles game or whatever, they're all in college and they're at ESU, which is in the middle of Manhattan. So I'm a big fan of what Insomniac has done here. I really am. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I know, and this is what I'm saying. Whatever I just cooked up, as interesting as I made it sound, or whatever, or as half-assed as I made it sound. I don't want to toot my own horn, whatever. But whatever that is, they're gonna come up with something that's 10 times better, because Insomniac are just masters of weaving these things together. They are masters of blowing your expectations out the door. You can have high expectations. You'd be like, yo, my expectations is here. It was like, we're aiming for up here. And they hit them. They hit my expectations. They. Oh, so good. So good. Again, first game I have ever wanted to repeat immediately. Immediately. As soon as I was done with the story, I was like, oh, let's go. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. I know I haven't even finished everything yet. I know there's still some things I'm going to find out. But immediately, like, I was like, I need to play this shit again. Right now. Right now. Right now. Because it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Absolute fucking ridiculous. So good. Best Spider-Man movie ever. It didn't reach the same emotional heights or depths, I should say, of the first game, but it still hit me in the feels. Still had me rooting and tooting and worried. And I have no idea what's to come. So Insomniac, if you ever see this, please stay cooking. Stay cooking. Because you be feeding us straight gourmet goodness. Oh, look at you. Get it, bud. Get it, bud. All right, all right. Well, on that note, I'm going to head on out. I just had to rant and talk about the game. I guess Guardians is not hitting for another day or so. And that's okay. I am going to finish everything else in the game first. I don't know if I'm not getting that platinum, but I'm getting there. Because I don't know what half of the missing trophies are. I know some of them I have to put fall damage on for, so. Anyway. But to all of my viewers, my Geek Speak peeps, I appreciate you for coming through. My subscribers, past, present, and future. I do this because I need you. Otherwise, watching the game is just not as fun without you. So, to everyone that stopped through tonight, and everyone that'll stop through once it's up, thank you. Thank you. If you like what you see here, hit that like button. If you dislike what you see here, hit that dislike button. Leave a comment. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. I will take it under advisement. And on your way out, hit the subscribe so you can hit the notification bell and hit a ding ding every time I hop on and know when I'm doing this. Because soon I'll be on an all new game. And we will be on some intergalactic hijinks for sure with the Guardians of the Galaxy. But until next stream where we wrap up all of the craziness in Manhattan, a couple more hives, a couple more Hunter blinds. This has been your boy, Brian, at Geek Speak Gaming. And I just need to say, just remember, if you can't, oh wow, I'm fucking up my own outro. You can't take care of anybody if you can't take care of yourselves. So please, by all means, and every means, take care of yourselves. So please, take care of yourselves. This is your boy Brian, Geek Speak Gaming. Peace. I'm out. If I can find the controller, where the controller at? Oh, there it is.